11:15.
I think we should start at 11:15 officially. Don't you think? Like moving forward.
I feel bad for anyone that tunes in at the top of the hour looking for our show.
Yeah, especially like it's not like for the last 150 episodes we keep talking about the importance of showing on time for live stream. Oh my god.
Well, it's you and I just talking. Like you know.
Yeah, maybe we should record the preparation as the intro topic.
I think people will be entertained by our preparation.
So maybe we'll start at 11:15 after on season 2. All right, let's try. Let's go on.
Let's go.
Hello, everyone. This is Nico, the company with Extremely, the company that gets you live streaming and video commerce on your website, across social media, email, SMS, wherever you are, your video becomes shoppable. And I am with the great host of all time, maybe, Matt with E6 Marketing, the company that gets you on QVC and HSN. How are you, Matt? So excited to have you again.
I'm doing very good. I'm feeling great this morning. A great Friday. And a great topic of in the video commerce world. We've got a number of great things to talk about today.
Absolutely. And why don't we start with the usual introduction of the show?
Yeah. So again, thank you very much. Thank you for tuning into our show. It's called the Video Commerce Podcast. Nicolas and Matt talk about the Vcommerce world. So Vcommerce is the storytelling platform that was created well over 50 years ago with TV infomercials, DRTV as it's called, that went to HSN and QVC, and has evolved into engaged direct response commerce through your television, computer, tablets, and phones. So in this show, the Video Commerce Podcast, we talk about 3 or 4 of the hottest topics of the week, all related to video commerce. And our first topic, Nicolas, is a fun one for anyone who enjoys pets.
Absolutely. This is something you sent me over, right? I was like blown away by it. So why don't
I saw this last night. It was a story I read last night. IKEA, the furniture store, debuts a TikTok shop dedicated to pets. So it's launching a pet shopping network to showcase new product ranges designed for humans' best friends. So it launches today. It launched this morning, May 17th at 9 a.m. Eastern time. So a show and a channel dedicated to pets, which I think is an amazing, fun category and a fun topic to build around a TikTok shop with.
Absolutely. And I mean, we already know that cat video used to be the number one thing that people were watching on the internet. Obviously, since that time has changed, but still it's very high on your horizon. I was actually, when I heard your story, trying to understand like what's the importance of cat video and pet video in general on the internet. Couldn't really find some statistics around that. So it was kind of like, so it's something that people say, but I do think people really look for cat video and pet video.
I'll tell you this, Nicolas, when QVC and HSN, when they were all doing Skype, in the heart of COVID, they had documentation or they had stats that said when a guest would hold up their own personal pet because they were Skyping from their home, the viewership would go through the roof.
Oh my God.
It got so crazy that people would like purposely grab their cats or dogs and hold them underneath their arms, that kind of thing. But I tell you, I'm not a pet. I don't have pets, and my daughter has a dog that she loves, and I know your family has a cat. But in my TikTok stream or algorithm, I get pet videos all the time, and they are hysterical. And they could be horses or, giraffes or something, all comedy kind of a related thing of doing something with people. And pets are just a magnet as far as the TikTok world goes. So this makes complete sense to me.
Absolutely, and the fact that if reading the story, and I invite any listeners, like if you're on the newsletter or if you're not on our newsletter where we talked about it actually this week, you can go find it by tryextremely.com/newsletter. And if you just want to see the news article, send us an email. I'll be happy to share it with you. But what's interesting is that they are actually working with animals like pets that are kind of trained for that are camera trained. So they will go one place to another. They will be all dressed up and everything to really showcase the product as if they were real human doing it into real scenario sets. So this is not just like, oh, a random room with couple IKEA stuff where you put like two random cat on it. This is actually a real production with a real intent and a real show behind, which I found it very fascinating. And I'm so curious to see what the result's going to be. I remember like 2 years ago, I think it was Petco who did a runway where the animal, where it was like 11 dogs that were in foster care, that they actually walked through the runway where you can adopt the dog during a live stream. And that show, and the dog was also carrying some of the Petco item for sale. They blew away sales. Like, it was like an amazing show. I don't know for what reason they didn't reconvey the show, and they didn't make it like more permanent. It was more like a one-off campaign, but the numbers were like just crazy. And I can't imagine. I mean, I do see why they're trying to make that a network, because I do think they will be very successful.
I do too. And the Super Bowl is the biggest event in TV each year. Like, yeah, everyone tunes into the Super Bowl. And there used to be alternative programming just a few years ago where other networks would track when halftime happened, and they would have a pet show dynamic related to football. I'm not kidding you, Nicholas. And the ratings would go through the roof. If you don't want to sit through the Super Bowl halftime show, which is always long, people would turn the channel to turn on this pet show. So I think this is brilliant. IKEA, of all places, a furniture store, kind of coming up with this concept is the most unique part of the whole thing. I'm really excited to see what they can do.
Yeah, and sad I didn't realize it was starting this morning. I would have tried to grab a piece of video so we could watch it right while we're doing this. Could have been fun.
I know. They just debuted a couple hours ago, so
oh my god,
I'm certainly going to tune in over the weekend and see what they did.
Absolutely. Well, the second story of the week, it's not like an happy story and an happy dog or cat story. Unfortunately, this is BigCommerce. BigCommerce apparently has solicited multiple banks for helping them to achieve a sale. So BigCommerce is a public company. For the one that don't know BigCommerce is somewhat of it's a competitor of Shopify. It's a platform that I personally really love. I think it's a great platform, especially for software developer and technology provider like Extremely. And the fact that they are kind of putting in sales is kind of asking the question of like, what's the future of this company? It's a public company. What's happening is their stock. They have been in the stock market, and I think they declined over 90% since COVID, and they're really, really not recovered. So they have been really struggling on that side. And I think getting into a private sales is really to help them out, figuring out a path forward, and getting private without on the eyes of the private market. Hopefully, that investor gets in, continue investing, because I think people that are on e-commerce really love the platform because it's really versatile platform. It's a very interesting platform. It has its pitfall like any platform, but yeah, I'm really hoping that the merchant that will be there will keep continuing be supporting, and e-commerce will continue innovating. It's a really great group of people, and so I really wish them a lot of luck and courage through this past those tense time.
Yeah, it's not a good time to be in BigCommerce. 90% market value loss, they reported. Shopify is just a behemoth.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with it's called Rhythm now. Commerce Hub is kind of the primary tech provider through QVC. They also work with a lot of big companies: Walmart, JCPenney, Best Buy, Toys R Us, Walgreens, Staples. This Rhythm brand is a competitor to Shopify, I guess a competitor to BigCommerce as well. So it's not just Shopify in the space. Yeah. So BigCommerce, that brand can compete. I don't know about their leadership or their dynamics specifically on why they lost so much market share in in this world, but as we've talked about every week, it's an ever-changing dynamic.
Yeah, and to be frank, I'm not so sure they lost market share. I haven't went actually through the number. I know that they lost confidence from the market, that's for sure. But I don't know, like if they are actually losing market share on the ground. Because as a matter of fact, we at Extremely, BigCommerce is a number one source of people coming to us. So I don't know what that says, but certainly is it's a big platform for us. So
Yeah, yeah. The next story I wanted to cover is a sports collectible brand that's expanding. So this goes against what we just were talking about with BigCommerce, but Dappz Sports is a trading cards and signed sports memorabilia video commerce platform. It's on TikTok and it's on their own websites. Dappz Sports, Dappz. They're expanding, and just a story I read this morning that was published yesterday. They're opening their second location in New York City. So they're located in Los Angeles, California. They're going to open a second location in New York, and right now they primarily cover trading cards and signed memorabilia from the UFC, NFL, NBA, FIFA, all kind of sports dynamic collectible products. And they're going to get into other categories like fashion and beauty and other things. So this New York City, going from LA to New York and having a second location is really an interesting dynamic for them. And it shows that the categories that they cover are growing. And I was privileged enough to talk to one of their executives a few weeks ago. He gave me a tour of their studios, a virtual tour, and it was amazing how many live streams he had going on at that time at one time. So sports collectibles is a serious video commerce dynamic. It works, and there is a dedicated consumer to it. And it's not the 18 to 20-year-old male. It's 24 to 35-year-old male and female. It's men and women. It's older demographic or a more established demographic with established careers and revenue, that you could buy things on the spot like that. 30 million monthly viewers they have. 30 million monthly viewers. So
it's crazy.
I'm a big fan of who they are now. I'm a big fan of sports collectibles. And I think them expanding into New York City is just exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. And before I comment, a special shout out to Lou and Dan that are actually watching us. Hey, so I mean, if you think about what Dappz Sport is and what they are really after, the market of the sports collectible, it is a big market. I mean, Whatnot is a behemoth in this space, and they started their business with collectibles. Fanatic Live, they started their business with collectibles also, and it's really, I think, what it says is that there's a big appetite for merchants and as well for viewers to actually create different experiences around those collectibles because they are one of the kind, a unique one, and I think overall, those make for great live stream too, right? It's like there's a discoverability that you have every time you're watching. Like there's no one live that's going to be the same one from one year to the other, which is very, very hard into a fashion show, or if it's very, very hard with a beauty product where you're just talking about the same product. Like the novelty has to be really driven on the host. In this case, the novelty is the product. So it does transfer the responsibility of the host has to be entertaining, but you come here to see what the product is going to be about and what's going to be that next thing. So I do think it drive that easy, some sort of like make it more easier. I don't know what you think on that, but I think the dynamic is quite different, and that's also one of the reasons it's easier and also grabbing more attention overall.
Well, I think it's a great lesson for anyone in live streaming because sports collectibles, specifically signed merchandise, signed memorabilia, or trading cards, there's a limited availability for those products. Very limited. So it's either the fear of missing out dynamic or exclusivity dynamic, or we only have 500 packs of this particular card. Get it now. So that's the fear of missing out. That kind of their whole sense of urgency is really where video commerce kind of began. Like, get on it now. Like, this is an impulse purchase dynamic. So the dynamic of like talking for a long period of time and having available inventory all the time, that's kind of tough. In the video commerce world, we're about impulse purchase. So we're about getting the sale right now, and you have to give the customer a reason to order it. One of those reasons that sports collectibles use and Dappz Sports does is just limited quantities. So I think it's great that they're growing. It's a great dynamic to continue to follow, to see how big it gets. You mentioned Fanatics. Like Dappz Sports is just one of those companies that's under the Fanatics. Fanatic doesn't own Dappz Sports, but that umbrella of Fanatics is just the dominant one in sports merchandise right now. It's fascinating, and as we've talked about before, sports is a big part of what we talk about each week in the video commerce world and content in general.
Yeah, that's amazing. And speaking of instant response and thing that gets quick, I wanted to bring on the fourth topic of the week, which is not like anything related to news, but it's something that you and I can relate to. We had a really awesome guest that I hope corporate will say okay to release the episode that we just recorded yesterday. This is, I will say, one of the biggest live shopping executive that we will probably not ever talk to, but at least in the top 5 worldwide executive in the video commerce space. And we talked with that person for maybe 45 minutes. And something that we talked about was quick commerce. This is a concept that I personally had heard about, but was not really sensitive to or aware of. So the notion of quick commerce is this idea of like, you're ordering it today and then you get it delivered. I mean, not today. You're ordering it on your app and you get it delivered within 15 to 20 minutes. It's a booming market in some emerging country like India, China, but it's also a big thing in the US. And yesterday, it was not on the quick commerce, but it really something that really surprised me. I had an issue with my keyboard, and so I had to change it. It was around midday. And I go to the Amazon app, and so my keyboard was it was under $25, but they say, hey, if you order over $25, we can deliver it today. And it was, I was over midday, and I was like, oh wow, like in less than 6 or 7 hours, I can get my keyboard delivered to me. It does really show that the notion of, there will be a point where everything is going to be quick commerce. I don't see, like the short, the networks are so vast now. People are shopping so fast. It's incredible, the delivery standpoint. Temu, for instance, realized that the US market was really in need of that instant delivery, not so much instant delivery, but like much shorter than what they were experienced to. And if you recall on the newsletter, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, where they actually opened up to US merchants. So it was not only a Chinese merchant that was lower price, but they took on some US merchants so they can actually ship quickly and offer that quick delivery. So it does say something about the state of how e-commerce and delivery is intertwined. I mean, there's nothing new there, but it does also say that how important that that network of delivery and how it's going to be even more important in the years to come. I don't know. I just found this whole dynamic fascinating. Curious to hear from the QVC perspective, how is delivery being considered, and what are your thoughts around that?
Oh yeah, well, there's a brand, and it's an e-commerce brand. It's not a video commerce brand. It's called GoPuff. GoPuff is almost an immediacy kind of delivery service. It's an amazing story. If you look up GoPuff and find their origin, you'll be fascinated. They're based out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They're literally their headquarters was in the shadows of the Ben Franklin Bridge, right near Drexel University, and they were underclassmen that went to Drexel University and built this brand from the ground to deliver within a 10 to 15 minute dynamic. So if you wanted a soda or chips or any kind of quick we have Wawa's around here, or 7-Eleven, or those kind of stores, they would deliver this product to the consumer in 10 to 15 minutes. They're still doing it, and now they're across the country. They've got like 2,500 or 3,000 locations and ever growing. They're still a private company. It's amazing. Not only do they do snacks and quick delivery, like sodas and snacks and sandwiches and things like that, but they do frozen, they do personal care products, they do all kinds of products. It's called GoPuff. Amazing. So that is the heart of what quick commerce has happened. This GoPuff dynamic was like 5 or 6 years before the pandemic. So they were already very well established. They blew up obviously during the pandemic, and they're still going strong. So that dynamic I've followed for many years. This quick delivery thing. These Amazon DCs are popping up all over the country. The fact that you're getting your keyboard on the same day you ordered it is not crazy to me, because I know it's happening. I don't have an Amazon DC in our area, so if I order something on Amazon, I get it the next day normally, which is obviously fine. We don't get it within a couple hours, but friends that I have in the same boat that you're in, they get it the same day delivery, which is amazing. When it comes to video commerce and QVC and HSN, they're still slower to the take. Customer gets the product in usually 4 or 5 days. If it's a frozen product, food product, they get it in 2 to 3 business days, so it's a little quicker. But they have DCs all over the country too, but nothing like Amazon, nothing like I'm talking about with GoPuff. So they're still slower on the take when it comes to that. The other part of the conversation we had yesterday, Nicholas, was not just quick commerce and delivery, but quick presentations over video commerce. Yeah. And we were debating and talking, we've talked about this before, is a 10-minute or 5-minute presentation better than a 20-minute or 30-minute or 60-minute presentation? So I was telling you earlier in our prep call today about we launched a brand new product, worldwide launch on QVC the other day from Dr. Gundry, MD. So he's a medical doctor that presents supplements on QVC, and it was for joint pain, and it was a worldwide launch. Our consumer is 50 plus years old, mainly female, and we were selling a joint pain supplement, a gummy, to help with not even arthritis, just joint pain. Yeah. And it did very, very well. It was completely successful. We had mixed of 25-minute presentations with hour-long presentations over the 24 hours. Both dynamics worked. So even within those longer presentations, you'd basically be repeating what you had said in the previous 15 or 10 minutes over and over and over, because the consumer, we know, is tuning in and out during that hour-long show. But generally speaking, the shorter dynamic is more impactful. So to be prepared, and we've talked about this before, don't waste your customers' time. Get a tight presentation, top 3 selling features, repeat those features over and over, making sure no matter when your customer tunes in, they hear the most important things of the product is really the most important thing, whether you're short form or long form.
Fantastic. I love what you say, and joint joint relief pills, or joint pain is a real problem, I think, out there. And so they're like, I could see why this is also successful, especially with maybe an elderly public. And yeah, those products are pretty good. In my old days, I was selling a bunch of turmeric, and turmeric is a great alternative for that. And it does work. So that's the beauty of those supplements. When they're well formulated, they do work, and so people will see the effect very quickly. And that's also what makes this whole magic work too, right? So that's fascinating.
And that kind of goes to my shout out. Like we were talking about Dr. Gundry, and he was successful on QVC this week. Supplements. We talked about sports collectibles. We talked about pet products. There is no shortage of ideas and dynamics that can work in video shopping. So if you have a concept and you don't think this is an e-commerce dynamic or a video commerce dynamic, I would explore it. It can work. And this conversation today kind of spanned the globe of all the different types of products that work in the video commerce space.
I think I really like that. I think it's not about the product. It's about like how can you make the content something that people want to consume, as opposed to make it like, as opposed to, hey, buy my stuff, it's great. It's about like, how do you provide value? And you will always find an audience that will find your content interesting enough if you provide value. It's very important that providing the value, but be entertaining, right? Because we can be here both of us talking about video commerce and thinking we provide tons of value, and people listening to say, oh, this is really amazing, tons of value. But if we have zero entertainability, which I don't know if that's even a word, no one's going to listen to us, right? So,
Right.
and by the way, shout out to everyone that's listening today. Thank you for being here. Follow us, and we are here on every Friday, as well as on Tuesday on the Live E-commerce podcast. For the one that are listening on the podcast, we are here live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, as well. Facebook, LinkedIn, and X all at the same time. Sorry for that. Well, the last thing, and this is my own shout out that I would want to do, is just think on Eastreamly we just released today. Maybe the culmination of 18 months. It's not maybe the culmination, but it is 18 months of work to get there. A relationship that we have with the wonderful folks at Visa, the credit card company, that really give us access to some of their top-notch technology, which is their unified checkout. And we have added the unified checkout on the Eastreamly. We have a client that is coming up first to be leveraging both technology. I think it's a really amazing experience. Visa is really investing heavily on the unified checkout to make that pay on the go super easy, recognizing with their system what credit card you already own, so you don't have to figure it out like who you are, like your credit card already showing. So a super personalized experience to make your shopping very easy. I love those payment innovation because I think they are to the benefit of the user all the time, and they really drive conversion for the merchant. So I think it's a really cool innovation that I wanted to shout out. Matt, we have another thing to say, and it's 26 minutes. We will be taking a little break the next month. So next week will be our last show of the month. And then after that, the months after, we'll be taking a short break. There's a lot of trade show going on, and I will be traveling as well. But I will be at Commerce Next. I don't know if you will be there, Matt. Commerce Next, a trade show in New York, talking about e-com.
Yeah, we need to talk about that. I wasn't planning to do that, but obviously your family travel and your business travel is going to take you away, take you out of town for the month of June. So we'll be back in July and August talking video commerce and all things video. And then Nico, when is your other podcast we recorded? When is that launched?
Every other Tuesday on the Live E-commerce podcast, we do have an episode of a great guest. And I don't know if for recording, we will work on it on season 3, which is going to be after the break. Probably that's when we will push it out. So, but really amazing conversation. We will tease you out about this. All right, everyone, we are far on the time. Thanks for being here, and thank you, Liliani, for your shout out. And we will see you again next week.
Bye-bye.